In all of Demon Slayer, every fan thinks they understand Tanjiro Kamado. They see his sun breathing, his incredible smell, his unbreakable will. But they're missing something. Something hiding in plain sight throughout the entire series. An ability so subtle, so perfectly integrated into the story that even after the manga ended, most readers never realized what they were looking at. Tonight, we're uncovering Tanjiro's most broken power, the one that's been there since episode 1, the one that actually explains how he achieved the impossible over and over again. And by the end, you'll understand why this hidden ability makes Tanjiro far more terrifying than any demon he's ever faced. Let's start with a question nobody asks. How does Tanjiro consistently turn enemies into allies? Not just spare them, not just show mercy, actually convert them, make them question everything they believed about themselves. Nezuko staying humanish? That's obvious, but what about Inosuke, Zenitsu, Giyu, Sabito, even Muzan's victims? Every single person Tanjiro encounters walks away fundamentally changed, and it's not because of his sword skills, it's because of his most terrifying ability, empathy manipulation. I know what you're thinking. That's not a power, that's just his personality. Wrong. Tanjiro doesn't just feel empathy, he projects it, forces others to experience it, makes them feel what he feels, understand what he understands. Think about his first encounter with any demon. He doesn't just see their humanity, he makes them see it too. In their final moments, every demon remembers who they used to be, not because they're dying, because Tanjiro is forcing them to remember. His enhanced smell isn't just tracking sense, he's reading emotional states, psychological patterns, the very essence of a person's soul, and then he weaponizes that information. Look at the Rui fight. Tanjiro doesn't just cut the threads binding Rui's victims, he severs the psychological threads. The fear, the hopelessness, the resignation. One moment, they're broken. The next, they're fighting back. How does someone's presence alone change the fundamental nature of others? Because Tanjiro isn't just using sun breathing, he's using something far more dangerous, soul breathing. Every Hinokami Kagura technique isn't just channeling fire, it's channeling the collective will of everyone who ever refused to give up, every ancestor who chose hope over despair, every human who looked at impossibility and said no. That's why his techniques grow stronger when he's protecting others. That's why he can push beyond his physical limits. He's not just fighting with his own strength, he's fighting with the strength of every person who believes in him. But here's where it gets terrifying. This ability works both ways. Remember the final battle with Muzan? Everyone wants to focus on the poison, the dawn, the teamwork, but they're missing the real weapon. Tanjiro made Muzan feel something he hadn't experienced in 1,000 years. Doubt. For one moment, the Demon King questioned whether his path was right, whether his victims deserved what happened to them, whether he was actually the monster everyone said he was. That hesitation, that split second of humanity bleeding through, that's what made him vulnerable to everything else. Tanjiro's true power isn't destroying demons, it's forcing them to destroy themselves, making them see what they've become through the eyes of what they used to be. But the most broken application of this ability, it works on humans too. Every Hashira who meets Tanjiro becomes a better version of themselves. Giyu stops running from his past. Sanemi confronts his pain. Obanai learns to trust. Tengen finds meaning beyond flashiness. They don't change because they want to. They change because being around Tanjiro makes it impossible to avoid seeing your own potential for goodness. He's not just a demon slayer, he's a soul surgeon, cutting away the parts of people that keep them from being who they're meant to be. Now imagine if this power was used maliciously. If instead of projecting hope and empathy, someone projected despair and hatred. If they could make you feel their worst emotions, their darkest thoughts, their most twisted perspectives. That's why Tanjiro is actually the most dangerous character in Demon Slayer. Not because of what he does with his power, but because of what that power could do in the wrong hands. The scary part, I don't think Tanjiro even realizes he's doing it. He thinks he's just being kind, just showing empathy, just trying to understand others. He has no idea he's rewriting the fundamental nature of everyone around him, which means this ability is still growing, still evolving, still becoming more powerful with every person he saves. Tanjiro Kamado isn't just the protagonist of Demon Slayer. He's proof that the most dangerous weapon in any universe isn't a sword, or a technique, or even overwhelming strength. It's the ability to make others see themselves clearly, and then choose to become something better. Because in the end, that's not just defeating your enemies, that's defeating the very concept of having enemies at all.